You're watching Escape Adulthood Live, your #1 source for long-lasting, fast-acting, physician-approved adultitis relief.
On this week's show, we're presenting Gallery Night, a magical evening of storytelling, art, and hope. And we're kicking off a week-long online auction filled with original paintings and one-of-a-kind treasures.
Greetings and salutations, everyone.
Thank you so much for shenanigating with us tonight. And I have to say, this is pretty exciting, you guys. You dressed up pretty nice tonight, Jay.
I clean up pretty good, if
You
I can
know,
say so
and this
myself.
is actually the time slot of our weekly show, Escape Adulthood Live. So if you're joining us new tonight, welcome. And I see a lot of familiar weekly regulars in the comments kind of cheering along from their different states, whether you're in jammies or fancified tonight. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be a magical evening.
We got Canada, we got New Zealand, we've got the Shaw,
right?
Waukesha here in Wisconsin.
We know what the Shaw is.
I love Bridget Buckman says, my first gallery night.
Us too! Yeah, for some of you who are like, what the heck is gallery night? Well, for the last 3 years, we've done Wondernite, which is an in-person art gala with stories and wine and the whole thing. And, you know, I don't know why we didn't have it this year. Do you?
There was a little bug because COVID, something.
But, you know, why do we have to give up something that we love so much? So we transformed it into gallery night. And you're here, which maybe wouldn't have been the case if it would have been here in Madison. So
I've got to have a shout out. Connie Lee from LaSalle, Illinois. That's like the town over. I was from Peru. I lived in Peru.
Right next door.
LaSalle Peru High School is where I went to. So hello to Connie and
welcome to everyone.
So great to see so many different people.
Please take this opportunity to push share on your computer or phone or whatever you're watching from tonight. That just helps get this light. There's so much darkness out there, guys, and tonight is going to be a beacon of light, a night of hope. And we need your help to spread that light. So if you could push share, we would super appreciate it. The other cool thing in a few minutes, right? You're going to see Jenna, who's in studio tonight. And boy, is she looking dapper, you guys. You're going to love.
She is.
Oh, my, she is shining bright. That is a little foreshadowing for you. But Jenna is monitoring the comments live here tonight with us. So if you have any questions at any point, which you might as things progress, feel free to throw them in the comments and she will do her best to keep up on those as they come in.
Absolutely. You know, it's been a rough year. I think it's fair to say. Yeah. And so tonight is basically an opportunity where we're going to share some stories about some of our experiences this year that I'm sure you'll probably be able to relate to. But by the end of the night, you stick with us. We promise that we are going to have some fun. We're going to share some laughs, and we're going to leave you filled with hope. That is our goal.
Yes. And we have a few little journeys we're going to take you on. One being Jason's art studio. So we've showed you studio sneak peeks over the last 2 years, but we've never actually walked with you into his studio and let him give us the official tour. So that's coming later in the show.
Yeah. And we also, we usually give away a giveaway. We give away a giveaway. Yeah, we do that.
We give away giveaways. Yeah. That's
but because this is special tonight, it's going to be 3 giveaways. And they're not just like...
They're not little giveaways.
They're not wimpy giveaways. These
Can
are
I show
awesome
them one?
giveaways. Please.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Probably the best one of the night.
Did we show this last week on the show?
We may have,
We might have. So if you're a regular, you might have seen this. But here is the final big giveaway.
So this is an embellished canvas. It is a reproduction of Hope in the Darkness. This is the one original that's already been sold. It's not here tonight. But what I did was I took this reproduction and I added more to it. So a little bit hard to tell, but there's some
pretty shiny,
glitter paint around where the fireflies are and some extra white paint to just kind of add a personal hand touch. This is probably about a $500 value. Yeah. We are giving this away.
At the very end, you gotta be live to have a chance at it. And the other giveaways are pretty exciting.
Yeah, we have some pretty neat stuff coming up. So stick around for that. And as Kim said at the open, we are launching a week-long auction that is now live. It's got the original Corona Blessing paintings that I'll be talking about tonight, 2 of which are right here. We have a bunch of other really, really cool limited edition stuff, and I think with that, we need to go on tour. We need to show some of these
This is
cool
the
things.
coolest part about this, you guys. If we were at Wondernite in this fancy, event room, we couldn't take you through our house. So let's go on a walk through the house.
Let us do that. Okay, so a lot of mic technology issues.
Thank you for your patience with us.
Sounds like we have inhaled helium. That's good. That's what it's supposed to sound like. It's supposed to sound exactly like that. So let's just tell some stories.
That sounds good.
Let's just do that.
Yeah.
These pieces here are kind of good ones to start on because they sort of start with how all of this began, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. So this top piece owned this moment with the bear catching the fish. Do you want to show up a little closer? This one is really, I love the brush strokes on this bear. His fur is wet, and Jason did such a cool job of getting all that water. Just the texture is so real to be able to grab that, and it just bounces off. And then, in a few minutes, we'll be telling this story, home fries. And I don't know about you, but these are like the most realistic giant fries I've ever seen. And if you're not like totally jonesing for French fries right now and ketchup, then it's crazy, right? How realistic that is. So starting with the top piece called Own This Moment. Back in March, and we know the date very well, is March 13th. It was a Friday. We were in Evansville, Indiana, and the reason we know it is because it was my birthday. And we were about ready to drive 8 hours home after Jason's last in-person speaking event of the year. Mm-hmm. Had no idea at the time.
Didn't know it at the time.
That was the week that they declared a national state of emergency and basically asked the entire country to go in quarantine, or not quarantine, but go in safer at home order, right? Mm-hmm. So we had an 8 or 9 hour drive home from Evansville, Indiana. And it gave Jason and I just this amazing opportunity to ask the big question that we had no idea was coming for the whole year, which was, what business are we in? Yep. You had how many speaking events planned that were, by the second we're calling and emailing and canceling and rescheduling, and everyone was trying to figure out what was happening next. But we knew in this 8 hours that things were going to change. So it gave us this amazing opportunity to just kind of focus on what business are we really in? And we kind of came up with it pretty easily. We are not in the speaking business. We are professional encouragers. So that allowed us to kind of reframe what steps we took next and basically ask the question, how can we help?
Yeah, we knew that if we were going to stick with the idea that we're in the speaking business, we're in trouble. And so it was like, well, we're not in the speaking business. We're in the how can I help business. We're in the encouragement business. And so the point of this painting, Own This Moment, is sort of the idea that, I don't know, it might be a little weird to look at a pandemic as the opportunity of a lifetime, but it kind of is. And it was the attitude we took, and it's the attitude I've seen a lot of people take in this opportunity to change things, to mix things up. And it definitely came without us asking for it. No one asked for this to happen. But I think the opportunity was there for amazing things to happen. And so what has been cool about this year is that if you've ever felt like this lowly fish, just kind of going upstream, never making much progress, this is sort of the chance to be the bear. And this crisis, this pandemic, this opportunity, this life is astoundingly temporary. You're only guaranteed this moment. Will you own it? That's the question.
I love that one. Yes.
Which brings us to talking about French fries.
Yes,
right?
let's talk about some French fries. So this one is called home fries. And I think we can all relate to the next stage of what we all went through, which was being at home. And whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, that could have been a totally different reality for you, especially at the beginning. As introverts, we kind of were like, oh, you mean we get to be home and we don't have to rush around and do all this stuff? Everything's canceled, you know? At the beginning, it was kind of nice, right? And we kind of got cozy into some neat home rituals, some really nice dinners, our daily family walk, which I know we weren't the only ones because our whole neighborhood was filled with people. We're like, who are you people? And where have you been the last 11 years we've lived here? But we got into certain family rituals at home. And it actually helped us to see how important that was through new eyes, right? Like I said, our meals, but maybe our evening routines. We started saying the rosary together as a family. We'd never done that before. And it became something that we just kind of took as like what we could control.
Yeah, there's something adorable about a 6-year-old saying rosary, doing little prayers. Was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
But there was something about that nostalgic, and part of it was those family dinners. And it reminded me of stuff I've read and talked about over the years about how important family dinner is. Like there was a study at Columbia University where they separated 2 groups of teenagers, and they looked at one group of teenagers that had dinner with their family 2 times a week or less, and then another group that had dinner with their family 5 times a week or more. And the results were astounding, that the kids who had dinner more often were more likely to get better grades, do better in life in general, less chance of drinking and getting into drugs and things like that. It was amazing. And it's one of those things that family dinner is one of the things that has sort of gone by the wayside in our pre-COVID busyness. And if this is one thing that I hope never goes back to normal, is that running around like chickens with our heads cut off. And one of the things about this painting to me, this concept, this home fries, right, and this return to nostalgia is the reminder that we can't control a lot of stuff. That's where a lot of this anxiety came from. But the only thing we can control, really, is what happens under our own roof, right? There's a lot of stuff outside our house, outside of our family that there's nothing we can do about, but there's a lot we have control of under our own roof. And dinner, family dinner, whether you have kids or not, by the way, it's just that regular time with friends, your loved ones, whatever, just making that point to just sit down and be together, that is a really, really good place to start. So here's the idea that I have, Kim. We're going to try this out again. We're going to go on location, and if the audio doesn't work, Jenna will let us know. We're not supposed to sound like helium balloons or chipmunks.
I love that I sounded like a chipmunk. I love that.
If it doesn't work,
like that in real life.
We just won't talk.
Yeah, we'll just show you. We'll just show you.
What we're going to show you is a few things. We're going to show you a watch. We're going to show you a serving tray. You probably saw these things. You're going to see my daughter on a yoga mat looking adorable. We're going to look at some framed mini wooden
little
framed
maple prints.
Pretty
They're
sweet.
So cute. Yes.
We've got a killer acrylic print of the Shine On image that is
super
unbelievably
heavy,
awesome.
Unframed, very contemporary piece.
We've got a couple blankets we're going to show you. Again, well, these are like we're not selling these on our store. These are unique items that if you're interested in, they're in the auction. And then we've got some acrylic blocks, one for each of the Corona blessings. And then probably the coolest thing of all,
the showstopper,
is the print of Hope in the Darkness that actually has lights in it. I installed lights into
He bought a drill for this, you
thing.
guys.
I literally
bought a drill.
That's how handy I am. I did not have a drill before this. So we're going to go on a tour. It seems like even though it might be a little glitchy, if the sound doesn't work, we'll just mime it.
Just mute us for a little bit.
We're just going to do a real quick tour.
Yes.
So let's
All right, let's
try
do
this
this
out.
again. You ready, kiddos? culture people series. Lots of you have enjoyed these little guys over the years. We have, of course, Willy Wonka. Look at his little purple. And Back to the Future. I know so many Back to the Future fans are going to die for that one. Of course, we have Napoleon Dynamite with Deb and Pedro and Napoleon. And then the beloved U2. These all are sold as little sets, as you can imagine. And then Kylo Ren and Rey, which is just a really cool, I love the color scheme on that one, Jay. And then City in the Clouds, which if you are watching Mandalorian right now, you're going to love a lot of these little characters that are throwback, right?
Ugnaught there,
right?
Boba Fett.
And of course, you know, Boba Fett being such a big deal right now, hint, hint. But yeah, so many cool items, you guys. Thank you for taking our quiet tour of the upstairs.
Trying to make the best of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jonah says we have a question. Yes.
What is the size of the small block prints?
Yes, 4x4.
Good question. 4x4, yeah,
Yes,
little framed
little
mini ones. So.
And they stand so nice by themselves, so you can kind of have it kind of in like your cube or maybe in a kitchen, that sort of thing. So, and they also hang. There's a ability to hang them as well. Good question.
Well, thank you guys for your patience. We've got much more in store, but no more long tours. So that's that. We got that part. But I think because you have been so good hanging in with us, it's time for a giveaway.
Yes.
All right, so this is really easy. We were talking about home fries, right? So in order to enter to win this giveaway, all you have to do is enter a comment here answering this question. Because, you know, certain things like vegetables are good for us, but that doesn't mean we would rather have them instead of dessert, right? So here's what I would love to hear. What, if 2020 was a food, what kind of food would it be? And what are we giving away? Well, we're giving away a Celebrate Everything calendar. Now, these have been out for a few weeks now, and the notable thing about this calendar is it's got 365 real holidays. There's a holiday for every single day, and it just so happens to have all of the artwork that we're talking about tonight from the Corona blessings that we're talking about. And now, what's cool about this, even like 20 times cool, is we're not just giving away one of these calendars. We're giving away 20 of them. So one person is going to win 20 calendars for all 20 rooms of your house. No, well, you could, or you could give them to 19 other friends. That's kind of the idea. So your Christmas shopping could be completely over by the end of tonight. So basically, let's hear them. What are some of what would be?
There's some good ones coming in here.
What do we got here?
What is the food of 2020?
Liver. Joyce says liver.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Kara says Limburger cheese.
So stinky.
Yes.
This is stinky gear, right, you guys?
Onion ring, says Pam.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mike says escargot.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yes.
I'm not a fan.
Another liver from Jen.
Yep.
How about anchovies, Kim?
Oh, yes. No one's happy about that.
No. How about chicken gizzards?
Oh, that's good.
What do you guys, the kids are down here, the staff is down here. Do you guys, what would be the food
that represents 2020?
What do you got, Ben?
Sardines. Yes.
It's a good one.
Salty.
Julie says Alpo.
Oh,
AKA dog food. Ginny, what do you got? Beets.
I'm not a beets fan, right?
How about goulash? A mess in a pot. So that's good. I like that. Good job.
That's very story based. I love that.
Sharon going Star Trek on us. Klingon bloodworms.
Nice.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but how about Rocky Mountain oysters?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Wow.
Jill says collard greens, slimy and
wrong. I love the wrong, Jill.
Yes. I love Steve here says that it was like being in an actual gallery having to be quiet.
Oh,
yeah. It was kind of a little bit like that. Yeah. It's not what we intended, but you we make do.
Right.
How about Jenna Marley says covered ants with a side of dog chow.
Very specific.
Very, very specific. What else we got? Oh, Dorothy. Mush with mold on it.
Dorothy.
Kids back there.
That sounds very Dr.
dry
Seussish, like, like something from The Grinch.
Marnie says spoiled kale.
Oh.
As if regular kale wasn't bad enough, but spoiled kind.
It's so good to see so many of you, by the way. As your names pop up, I'm like, oh, Marnie's here, and Helen, and Sabrina, and thank you for being here, you guys.
How about this for creativity? Ian says, it's a fantastic chocolate mousse cake that's been sitting behind the fridge for 11 months.
Oh, good one, Ian.
Not great. I'm seeing Brussels sprouts, stinky Chinese fish.
Oh,
very specific there from Carolyn. John says succotash.
Succotash. Is that the correct spelling? I love that, John.
I like that spelling better.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We know what you're talking about.
Kim says sea urchin.
Yeah, no.
Oh, here's a sardines, Ben. Kay says sardines.
Yeah, she's with you on that
Good
one.
stuff, you guys. These are. Oh, Sue weighs in with a sucker. Very good.
It just kind of sucked, But I'm so excited that someone gets these 20 calendars. We've had a lot of people reaching out to us and saying, how do I get multiples so I can send them to my clients or use them as a fundraiser? So I can't wait to see who the winner is, and we will be announcing that very soon.
Yeah, we're actually going to announce that on the show.
All right. So we have some more stories.
We do.
Should we show them new art? Did you notice that the art magically got changed?
No,
Did you notice that?
Right?
Helpers. So here is a very, very special piece called Good Friday. Jason actually talked about that last week. Yep. Now, can you see the lights? That's the problem with the video, you guys, is in person. It looks like there's sun shining through that. I hope it shows up a little bit as well as my eyes can see. And then this guy, you just want to pet him and pet his mama's little legs there so much. It's so soft, you guys. The contrast of that, the black claws with the fur is just so powerful. So we're going to talk to you about the top one first, called Good Friday. I have to tell you, many of you know from our Wonder Hunt course and the work that we put out there that one of my favorite things in the world to do is especially when I'm stressed, but anytime, is to go for a walk and look for wonder. And come April and May, I was having a rough time. I could not find hearts in nature. It's my jam to do that. There was like a collective grief in the world, not even in our country, not even in Madison, in the world, that all of us were feeling, and it was heavy. And there were days when getting out of bed didn't seem like a very good idea. And I know I was not alone. And we would go on walks, and I just had a hard time finding beauty. And we found ourselves carrying chalk with us to draw hearts on the sidewalks, to literally add beauty to the world, because I was just having such a hard time finding it, to be honest. A few months later, Jason started painting this picture. And I have to tell you, I started crying immediately when I saw him, sketching it out, because I knew that it was one of my photos. And I was like, what are you doing drawing one of my photos? So I'll let you take it from there.
No, go ahead. It just struck me, this photo, the light, the perspective, and I couldn't get this image out of my head. It just reminded me of, it was just getting to the end, right? It's, it starts out yellow with dandelion, and then it gets this blossom, and I knew within a day or two, all the little, the white things, technical terms, would be gone. And there's something majestic about it, and I named it Good Friday, and part of it was because it made me think of that Good Friday centuries ago when, to people who were believers, Good Friday didn't seem so good at the time. And in a lot of ways, that's how this year is it doesn't feel so good all the time.
Right.
But I think what's important to remember is that now, looking back on that Good Friday centuries ago, it turned out pretty great. And something doesn't have to be awesome in the moment for us to realize the good that comes from it. And I think that's what this year is all about, is about the fact that we'll probably never do cartwheels as we reminisce back on 2020. But I think we might look back and see some good.
Definitely. And this bottom piece, if we were ever to feel comforted, I think this piece called Refuge is the piece that we all needed when you painted it and shared it with us during these Corona blessings, because there was definitely something about nostalgia and finding a safe place. Obviously, safer at home was the language we were all using, but there is something about finding that inner safety, whatever that was for you, that I'm sure you can relate to. For us, we found ourselves hitting nostalgia big time, listening to old music like Michael W. Smith and Jars of Clay, music that meant something to us in our youth, right? Mm-hmm. We literally watched the sermons of the priest who married us, who from college, like week after week, we were tuning into his sermons because of the nostalgia. We watched movies like Wizard of Oz and Goonies and showed these to our kids for the first time. And then, of course, the comfort foods of homemade mac and cheese and certain things that you're like, there's just something about finding those safe places and bringing them into your space that helped us kind of feel comforted during all that grief.
Yeah, it was a good reminder of that, of like when we were little and we had the protection of our parents. And you kind of want to branch out on your own as you gain independence and you get bigger and stuff. But then you fall off your bike and you skin your knee or whatever, and you go retreating back home to mom or dad, grandma, grandpa, who will kiss your boo-boo and put the Band-Aid on. And I think no matter what, no matter how old we are, we may grow old, but our souls remain young. And we're always God's kids. And we're always yearning for love and safety. And sometimes the world gets a little bit too big for us, even if we're adults, even if we're grown-ups. And retreating back to those simpler times, I think, is good. I think that smallness that we feel is actually a gift, because it leads us back to our Heavenly Father, who's there for us all the time, that we weren't meant to have this all figured out on our own. And that's where we kind of get into trouble, is where we try to tackle everything on our own and with our own means. And then you get a year like this where you can't do that anymore, and it's just too big for you and too overwhelming. And I think the lesson of this painting, which I call Refuge, is that we can be brave because we have backup. And I think that's the story of that one, for sure.
I love it. Well, we do this every week, so we're not going to disappoint even in our fancy clothes. I think it's time to draw.
I think you're right. All right, this is the point of the show where we ask you, some of you might be having a watch party. It's not like you really have something to draw with or draw on, and that's okay. But maybe you came prepared. If you're a big-time fan and you're all ready to go, that's cool. But this is a part of the show where we invite people to grab a Post-it note, grab a pen, grab some markers, and draw along. And we go back to those days when we were young and when we were all artists and we all loved filling our refrigerator with drawings. And so I have a simple drawing here for us tonight, since we're in sort of a celebratory mood. And if you want to follow along with me, this is going to be on a replay, so you can watch the show afterwards and follow along. But what we're going to start out with here is I'm going to draw two, first I need to get some color in here. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Okay, I'm going to draw two U's. Make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to draw one U like this, and it's a little bit slanted. And then I'm going to draw another one slanted the other direction. Okay. All right, now I'm going to draw two lines at the bottom that looks like this. All right, pretty simple so far. You guys got this. Okay, then I'm going to draw another line underneath each of the things I'm working on here, just like that, little space. And then I'm going to fill in that space with the little slanted, connect them with the little slanted line. Okay. Now, at the top of these U's, I'm going to draw a little oval. It's going to look a little bit like this. Okay. And I'm going to do another one over here. And we're starting to get some champagne flutes here. Now here's the next part. This is going to add a little bit of depth and make this look like glass. Okay, is I'm going to draw some more ovals, but I'm not going to draw them all the way to the edge. All right, I'm going to draw it smaller. And I'm going to do another one on this side, smaller. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an outline that kind of goes along the edge of the glass. And you'll see what I'm going to do here, but I'm going to leave this space here. And this is going to give the illusion that this glass is see-through. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, and I'm using an app called Procreate, which is on the iPad. But there's all kinds of drawing pads, and of course you can adjust this however you want with whatever you're working on. And now I'm just going to fill this in with kind of a champagne-y color. It's kind of like a really light yellowish brown. And the other one, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Fill this in. I actually want to go a little bit more opaque here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a color that's a little bit lighter than the one I just used. And I'm going to draw some little bubbles in here. Just little dots, little bubbles. Because of course, champagne is bubbly. All right. And then I'm going to get a black, and I'm going to draw some little face on here. Little eyes. It's a little bit. Little smile. Eyes, little smile. Okay. Now for the final touch, these little dudes kind of seem like they're in love. So I'm going to draw little hearts up here. And I'm going to take that white again. And I'm going to do a couple little lines here, kind of like that little clink. This is sort of like the Batman, how when Batman would punch the Joker and then there'd be like a noise that appear. The word would be on screen, clink. And there you go. There's some little champagne flutes that are clinking in a celebratory manner. We like to have a little bit of fun on the Let's Draw segment. So
I love how you turned, these whimsical little champagne glasses into a Batman comic.
Right?
If that's not Jason, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's how I roll. I've got to bring a little bit of superhero or Star Wars or something.
The comments were really cool, Jay, because Barb at the beginning was like, hey, everybody, you can do this. We do this every week. You can do this, cheering people along.
Cool.
And I had this amazing conversation with Lisa, who's on the chat tonight, about how cool it is to just be encouraged to draw when maybe you never thought of yourself as an artist growing up. So very, very cool to see you guys trying to join us. And join us every week because we draw every week. It's kind of like Bob Ross meets Willy Wonka, right? Mm-hmm. Are you guys with me on that?
A little bit like Bob Ross meets Mr. Rogers, I suppose, a little bit, right?
Totally.
All right, so looks like we got some more stories up here.
Yes, we do. They just magically appeared again.
Let's take a look at this.
I told you tonight was going to be magical, you guys. All right, make a joyful noise. If you love color as much as I do, this one is going to totally make your heart sing with this amazing lily that is just bursting with not just the rainbow, but look closely. Musical notes, you guys. Make a joyful noise. The colors on this just blow your mind. It is just fabulous. And then the bottom one, it's got color, but it's a little different vibe, right? This is like a textured canvas, first of all, which is a different technique or a different medium for you. Mm-hmm. But this nest, it just definitely feels like you're going to get pricked by one of those little, branches that this bird has used to build this beautiful nest. And of course, that break is so symbolic. So let's talk about these two tonight. We have Make a Joyful Noise. Now, you may remember, put your thinking caps on, you guys, back to right before Easter. All of us were kind of feeling like Easter could be a turning point. That maybe, just maybe, we'd be able to have
Was that just us?
We we could have, in retrospect, we were crazy.
Wait till the summer. It'll be, we'll be past this.
Maybe we could still have graduations. Maybe that June wedding could still happen. Maybe our June summit could still happen. You know, we were still very anticipatory going into Easter, and there was this little bit of a giddy, childlike joy, now maybe naive, but at the time, anticipation that something good was coming. It was a little off, but that's okay.
A little bit off.
Anticipation was still very important for the process.
That hope carried us through several weeks, and kind of just kept us moving along.
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing that is sort of a theme this year has been the idea of unity. Right? Is like we're such a divided country, and there's so much unrest and issues and injustices and all sorts of things that we're all trying to work together to make better. And one of the things that I was thinking about is like, you think of a rainbow as a symbol of unity oftentimes, but if you really think about it, it is a symbol of unity, but each color is different, right? There's a variety of colors, and if you've ever tried to mix all the colors together, what do you get? Kids, what do you get when you mix all of the colors together? Brown. An ugly brown gray color.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of awesome to really think about, because yes, we do want unity, but that doesn't mean we all have to be the same, right? That we all have different strengths, we have different talents, even different ways of looking at things, different ways of solving problems, different backgrounds, different perspectives, and trying to force everyone to think the same way we do, or to expect that we all have to go about it the same way, is kind of a flawed concept and ends up with kind of a gross gray color. And so I think for me, the message of this is like, you know, the best unity happens when we're making a joyful noise, and the idea that we don't all have to be the same in order to work together. Which leads us to this nest.
The nest. Right? I know. This one was called Spring Break. And I have to tell you, the name of this, I remember when you were trying to name this, and I was kind of throwing out some ideas, which never works, by the way. It comes from right here. But Spring Break, what a witty and telling title that just kind of completes this painting for me in so many ways. Easter did not happen, you know, in a normal way. It was kind of our first official holiday as a family to do so differently. So yeah, there was the grief. There was like not seeing grandparents, all the traditions that we normally have. I mean, we kept some of them as best as we could, but there was nothing normal about that. And I think this was definitely happening across the world, where people's traditions were being upended and kind of no end in sight in so many ways at that point, that we all kind of felt that brokenness. Mm-hmm. And again, a little bit, I mean, talk about the roller coaster of this year. By Easter, I think all of us were kind of having that like really despairing mindset of like, where is this going? What comes next?
Yeah, I think normally when something in our life breaks, whether it's a coffee mug or a window or our leg, that's a bad thing. We need to get it fixed. It's a sign that it might be useless and we need to throw it out. But then I thought of the egg in a bird's nest, and that crack, when a bird's egg cracks, it's not the end. It's the start of a new beginning, right? And so that was, even though amidst the hope, something breaks, but there's still reason to still have hope. And so even though we were kind of hopeful that maybe we'd be past this by the time the summer rolled around, and we weren't, there were still lots of good signs, lots of things happening. And the idea of calling this spring break is all based around that. And that anytime you have something in your life that's broken, maybe feels like there's no chance for it to be repaired, is to maybe ask yourself a question. Is it really broken? Or is it the start of a new opportunity? All right, you guys, we got another giveaway to make happen here. First of all, the winner of the 20 calendars is Jeff Culver. Jeff Culver. So congratulations, Jeff. You win the 20 calendars. now we have another thing to give away. And in order to enter, all you have to do is answer in the comments your answer to this question. We're talking about making a joyful noise. And there's probably a song, singer, or band that you're somewhat embarrassed to admit that you love. I remember, I think when it was... when Ginny, our youngest, was born, shortly after that, I really got into One Direction. And there were a couple of One Direction songs that I listened to on repeat. I don't know if it was just like new dad brain, new kid brain or what, but it's not necessarily something that I want to, announce live on the world. I'm not going to do that. But, wait, I just did, didn't I? Shoot. But no, enjoy. Please partake in the embarrassment with all of us. What is the singer, song, or band that you are embarrassed to admit that you love? And if you do that, we'll make it worth your while. What is the chance to win? Here's what we got. So there's a couple things that we have in the auction that we didn't show yet. And the Let's Draw segment, many of you probably don't know this. When I do the Let's Draw segment, I actually put together a little sketch to give me an idea of what I'm going to draw so I can work it out ahead of time. So for instance, this one may look very familiar to you. Here is, get this, here's tonight's with the little champagne flutes. So this one is, I took some of these drawings and I framed them and put them in the auction. So this is one of a little penguin hatching. This one is available to bid on. Here's another one we did a few weeks ago. This one is called French fries. So it's a little drawing of French fries, and he's got a little mustache, and he looks very, very French. But I wanted to make one of these and give them away. So this is the one we did for Halloween, and it is Frankenstein headbanging. And this is an original sketch, a little original drawing, and it's all framed up. And one of you, as I see the comments are coming in fast and furious, one of you is going to win this one.
I have to say, my sister Christy's on tonight, and mine is with you, Christy. She put up Daniel Tiger. Yeah, does that totally relate to some of you parents of young kiddos out there? I love a good Daniel Tiger song, and I'll sing it for weeks.
How about Tim with Spice Girls?
Love it, Spice Girls,
yep.
Right? I'm already starting to like play the Spice Girls song
right?
in my head.
Like, I almost sing it. Joan, Captain and Tennille.
Nice, love it.
Grandma's
Joan.
Featherbed by John Denver.
There's a lot of John Denver popping up. Holy cow!
Deb, I gotta tell you, there's something to be ashamed of with the monkeys. I'm a believer.
With the monkeys.
I'm a believer with that one. Here, Jamie, Backstreet Boys.
Hey. There's posters. I'm thinking back.
Oh, here's a blast. Do you remember this one, Jenna? Tiffany? Remember Tiffany?
Yeah.
The jean jacket?
Doesn't seem to be anyone around. Little karaoke for you tonight.
Mike is Weird Al. Classic Weird Al.
You guys liked Weird Al growing up.
I do. Vicky, I Like Big Butts by Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Vicky,
can't lie.
It's so good to see you. Who doesn't? Yeah. Jenna's doing a little dance back there. The kids don't know that song yet, but maybe eventually.
Little New Kids. Did someone say New Kids on the Block? I haven't seen that. But Britney Spears.
Classic,
Oh, good stuff. What else?
There's some good ones.
Carolyn with Neil Diamond.
Yep.
Classic. He's the one, kids, who sings Sweet Caroline.
Ooh,
Got
that's
them turned on
a family
that, right?
song. We wail that in the car.
How about this DuckTales theme song? I'm sure I used to watch that back in the day. I'm sure if I heard it, it would come back to me, but I can't think of what that is.
I love it.
More Neil Diamond. Julie says my first album was Looney Tunes. Along Came Jones. They're Coming to Take Me Away. Shaving Crew. Monster Mash.
Monster Mash. We always listen
one.
to that at Halloween. Right?
Very
That's
good.
one of our family songs. Thank you for your confessions tonight, you
Yeah.
guys. I mean, this is...
Wham!
Oh, Bridget.
Yes!
I love it.
George Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Here's a good one. Hanson.
What happens if some of these you weren't even aware that you should be embarrassed to listen to them?
Kelsey acknowledges it's classic. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I love the ones where it's like people say it and you're like, wait.
I'm not embarrassed by that. I just listened to that.
It's just how it goes. Just how it goes. Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So,
Well, keep those coming in. Jenna's gonna pick a winner.
This is going to someone who shared tonight.
We're gonna find out who that is. But we've got another set of stories to tell, and then after that, we've got kind of a weird segment that I don't know what's coming up, but we'll get to that in a second. It's kind of some sort of a takeover, I think.
Yes.
I don't know. So
you're gonna want to see this.
Stick around. You don't want to miss this, but.
Let's take a look. Do you have your remote camera for this one?
Let's see here.
All right, you guys. 2 more. Proof of life. This one you have to be careful with your fingers because those little...
some desert people, some people in Arizona.
Touch that, I feel like I'm going to... it's that real, you guys. It's that real. Those little... What are those called? I don't even know.
Prickly things.
Prickly things,
yep,
okay?
Prickly things.
And then we have this beautiful whale that is breaching... And the water coming off of him is just gorgeous. Right?
Like
sound effects.
I'm very proud of how that cloud.
The cloud. I know the light popping out is just gorgeous. So let's talk about proof of life. So in June, we're moving along the year, guys. Our Corona blessings. In June, we made the decision after the summit was canceled. It would have been our 8th summit.
Yeah, I think
something like that. When that went bye-bye, along with a lot of other things, right? We decided, you know what? It's our 20th wedding anniversary. 6 months ago, or 6 months prior, we had booked this amazing little house rental in the mountains of Idaho, which was very meaningful to us. And we're like, let's do it. We can do it. No one was flying, but we're like, let's fly out there and just be safe and just hide away for a week. And so we did. But one of the things that we had to do differently is we had to drive to Minneapolis to catch our flight because Madison's flights were barely running. So we'd made the big trip, 5 hours up to Minneapolis, and we pulled into town. And this was about a week and a half after all of the unrest, all of the hurt that had happened in Minneapolis. And collectively, as we checked into our hotel that night, we just felt the grief. We felt this cloud, this heaviness upon Minneapolis and the Twin Cities there that was stark. Yeah. It was really, really stark.
Yeah, I wasn't in New York City after 9/11 and the aftermath of that, but I imagine it reminded me of that. You could actually feel it, and it felt a lot like a desert, just kind of like the life was gone out of it. But it was ironic because where we were headed in Idaho was a town called Hope. We were literally going to Hope, Idaho, and we had a little getaway reserved for our 20th anniversary.
Yeah, and the getaway, a lot of times these HomeAways, these little rentals will name their little, vistas or whatever. They have a name, and this one was called the Garden of Egan, which means the Garden of Fire. And they had a beautiful garden that we spent a lot of time in. And it was definitely a time of enrichment, and it was a time of growth for us. Almost like the fire was symbolic of all that was lost, and we were able to kind of grow anew there that week. And what was born out of that week was the Wonder and Whimsy Society. We had these little thoughts bubbling up, but that week in the quiet, beautiful setting on this beautiful lake, do you remember the name of the lake? Petnell? Something like that is up in the panhandle of Idaho. We just embraced this new growth, this new life that was coming from these thoughts of what the Wonder and Whimsy Society could be for our tribe, for you guys, for us, for our family, for the world. And it was really, really amazing.
Yeah, it was a turning point because after all of the months of just trying to have faith and of asking that question way back when of what business are we really in? How can we help? And we started to actually see real things happening that our faith was growing legs. It was growing some flesh on the bones, right? And Wonder and Whimsy Society was one of those things, and we had an amazing launch, and it's been a great kickoff. But it reminds me in the context of the desert. When you're in the desert, it looks dead. It looks like there's no life. But that's only if you're not looking closely enough. The desert time, God is always working, even when he seems silent or absent. Good things are always happening, and they'll spring forth in time. And so that's that's the message of this painting, is that, yeah, everything around you might seem like it's dried up, falling down, devoid of life. But look closer. Look for that proof of life.
And then that leads us to this bottom painting, All Creation Rejoices, which was just an amazing follow-up to what we just described. Because literally, this is a painting of a photograph that we saw in person in Los Cabos, Mexico, about a year, probably 2 years ago now. And the amazing part about this, you guys, is that when we were on this little boat as a family, looking for whales out, in the Pacific, we were praying to St. Francis and Mother Mary, and we were trying to get all the saints in, of like, just help us see like a fin, help us see part of a whale, because they don't guarantee. I mean, they help, they try the best they can, but they don't guarantee you're going to see anything. And we only had this one trip to go. People are like, oh, if you book 5 trips, you'll definitely see a breach. It's like, we can't book 5 trips. It's 5 tickets, So we prayed and prayed and prayed. And sure enough, this amazing creature breached right in front of our eyes. And the cool tour company that we were a part of took all the pictures so we could just be in the moment. And the clarity of this photo is reflected in the painting that Jason has created. This is literally the photo we saw with our own eyes. And I have to say that this symbolizes so much the clarity that started to come, for us. This was maybe like August, no, actually July, when we were trying to look ahead to what the rest of this year would be, that we were rejoicing with the gift of clarity. We had opened up our hearts. We were open. We were ready for what was next. And sure enough, the Wonder Whimsy Society was coming together. Our fall was booked with virtual speaking events, which we had never even knew was a thing a year prior, right? And so many opportunities. Some of the answers that we've been asking for over a decade, we were starting to get clarity on some really big questions that we've had in our life. So it was a gift.
Yeah, one of the things that was kind of cool that I did some research on was, whales do this breaching behavior. And it was amazing to me that scientists don't even know why they do this. They have some theories, but no one knows for sure. And I'm like, well, what if it's just sort of like jumping for joy, right? And I think that, to me, it is a reminder of how, I don't know, maybe all of us have some built-in thing that we need to praise our Creator, and we do it in different ways. And I don't know about you, but like that spirit of gratitude is something that you can't be afraid, you can't be anxious if you have a spirit of gratitude, if you have a spirit of praise. And maybe that's what whales are doing when they're breaching. Maybe they're literally
kind of seems
jumping
like it.
for joy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we sort of feel out of balance when we aren't doing it, and feel better when we do. And I think that's a habit that we have tried to cultivate this year, especially amidst all of the struggle and the fear and the anxiety. But there's something about maintaining that spirit of gratitude. There's always something to be grateful for. Probably about 100 things to be grateful for if you spend some time doing it. And that's why this one is called All Creation Rejoices. But we've got kind of a fun, I guess it'll be a fun segment. I don't really know much about it. I don't know what to expect. The kids are basically
They're taking over.
They're taking over.
So who knows?
Let's see what happens here.
Good evening. I'm Lucy.
I'm Ben. I'm Lem.
In tonight's episode of Kids Take Over, we are going to have a very special guest. Please welcome Jason Kotecki.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me. Thanks guys, how are you guys doing? Good to see you.
Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. This should be interesting.
Yes.
So you got some questions for me, huh?
Yes. So, why do you create? What is your motivation?
Wow, going deep here. Okay, well, what is my motivation? Well, I've always been like to make things, just like you guys. I've always been a maker, and I've always liked to draw and paint, and I don't know, it's just something I still like to do. And so I hope now, like, my paintings encourage people and inspire people, and maybe make them smile. So that's kind of why I do what I do.
Do you think you're ever gonna get a real job?
Well, Ben, I like to think that this is my real job. I make paintings and I speak and write books, and people actually pay me for that. And this is how we pay for things around here. That's how we get food and lights and stuff like that. So I like to think this is a real job, and I hope someday you guys grow up and you can learn to use your talents to make a difference and make a living as well. So.
What's your favorite color?
Favorite color? Well, now here's a question I'd like to get into. Let's see. Blue. Blue is my favorite color, just kind of like your eyes. And if you look at a lot of my paintings, there's a lot of blue in them. But I've recently liked yellow a little bit. I like to add touches of yellow in my paintings. So thanks for asking that.
Who's your favorite kid?
Well, favorite kid, plot thickens. Well, they say that parents don't really have a favorite kid. You love them all equally, and I think that's probably where I should leave it right now on that one. So.
If no one buys a painting, are you gonna cry again?
Well, I don't know that I've ever cried or something like that, but I hope people enjoy the artwork and the paintings, and I'm sure it'll be successful. But if it doesn't, if no one buys anything, then I think I'll be okay.
Just in case.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate that, Ben. All right.
What's your favorite Funko Pop?
My favorite Funko Pop. Now we're getting somewhere, okay? As you can see, I've got Funko Pops everywhere, and it's actually a difficult question to answer because it's probably more difficult than answering who my favorite kid is. But I like all the Star Wars ones I got. I got a Mr. Potato Head one recently. I think Edward Scissorhands might be up there as one of my favorites. I actually just got a Bucky Badger one, which is killer awesome. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one yet or not, but yeah, so it's a good one.
Do you know what addiction means?
Addiction. Ah, well.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, Mom said the screen door is broken again.
The screen door is broken still. Thank you for that reminder, Lucy. And I think you picked up some wheels for that, didn't you?
I did. I'm working on it. Yes.
What have you been working on lately? Are you gonna get a real job? I love these questions. They're really honest.
It's real. It was an ambush. It was a setup. Is what that was.
Well, while you were gone, something magically happened in back of us.
I see we got some new paintings in there.
Our last 2 Corona blessings. Thank you guys so much for being with us here. We do have the big giveaway coming up and the studio tour. Yep. But let's tackle these last 2 Corona blessings because they are pretty important to the story of this year.
Yeah, so I think what's kind of interesting to take things now to the present time, where we've had such a challenging year, but then there's still some heaviness, right? There's still some division from the aftermath of the election. There's talk and some reality in a lot of different places of a second wave of the coronavirus thing. And so there's just it's like, man, could we have any more darkness? But one thing that I would like to share to give some hope is that it is always darkest just before dawn. Right?
Yes. When we got a chance to go to Hawaii last September, so a year ago, we got a chance to spend some time at Lainakai Beach. And the amazing part of that gorgeous beach is that you could get up and watch the sunrise over the beach. And we did that a lot of the days we were there. The 5-hour time zone difference did help us quite a bit.
Yeah. We were up anyway.
We were up anyway. So the coolest part about that is that sitting on the edge of a beach, watching a sunrise over these beautiful little mokes, as they call them, was one of those things that reminded us that, if we weren't facing west, we would not have seen the hope of the sunrise every morning. We could have just been facing the wrong way and missed the whole thing.
Yeah, so I think to me, that's the point of this painting. Dawn is coming. By the way, I don't know that I showed the actual close-up of that.
You have to see the light popping behind. And this is taken, of course, this is a painting from a photograph that we took on the beautiful shoreline there on Oahu.
But I used the font from Game of Thrones. That's where this comes from. The winter is coming. And then here's Hope in the Darkness. That one.
Yes, you can see the light popping off of there with that
glitter
paint.
The dawn is coming, like as Kim said, like if you're not looking east for sunrise.
Oh,
right?
yeah, sorry.
If you were looking west,
I said the wrong thing, I think.
I don't know, but
sorry.
if you're looking west, you would never see the sunrise, right?
Right.
And then at the same time, if you're, in a dark time, sometimes you just have to wait. And so the message of this painting, Dawn is Coming, is that when we are in a dark night of the soul, sometimes we need patience. Maybe that's where you are right now. And sometimes we just need a new perspective. And ultimately, that's, I think, what the Hope in the Darkness painting is kind of all about.
Yes,
right?
Yes. So growing up in the Midwest, we, spent many summer nights chasing fireflies. We called them lightning bugs. I think people, depending on what zip code you grew up in, you're going to call it one or the other. But it was not uncommon for us to take a little jar and go out and try to fill our jars with fireflies that would light up our room at night. And this past summer, Jason and I were driving back from a dinner out in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. And we were driving through the fields right about that time when the sun had just set and it wasn't dark yet, but all the lightning bugs were starting to come out. And anyone who knows Mount Horeb, I know Martha's on tonight. There's people on here that know what I'm talking about, the beautiful hills of Wisconsin. As we were driving back into Madison, the magic of what we witnessed that night is something I'll never forget. The fireflies, the lightning bugs were just popping up everywhere, thousands. Our eyes could not even begin to count and capture all of the light that was springing forth everywhere. Just, the kind of like spontaneously erupting all over as we drove home from to Madison that night. It was magical.
Yeah, it really was. It was kind of out of a movie kind of a thing. And this painting is one of the first ones that I did as the pandemic took hold and was starting. And to me, it reminded me of the fact that, we can get into darkness and it can be scary and overwhelming. But our eyes are drawn to the light. Eyes are drawn to the light. And so we need to focus on that because that's what pulls us out of the darkness. And I think as we look back on this year, the fireflies, to me, were the frontline workers who sacrificed so much for people in need, that people needed help. They're the teachers who have adapted to virtual, like on a dime, trying to figure things out at the last minute. They're all the people who stood up for a better world to try to make change, to make our country and our world better. They're all of the examples, and I know you've seen them too, like the small acts of kindness that people have put forth to help their neighbor who was maybe shut in or needed some supplies or toilet paper, things like that. It's all of those small and large acts of kindness, and it's all of the good that has come out of this world and will come out of this pandemic and this dark time. So the main encouragement is to keep your eyes fixed on the light. Keep looking for the helpers. Keep looking for ways to help yourself, help others, be that light for other people, because that's what's gotten us through so far, and that's what's going to get us through to the other side. So definitely.
Well, are we ready to attempt the studio tour?
I think we should try. Looks like my battery's getting low, but we can do this.
All right. right, you guys. We are moving to the other part of our studio here. And let's see, Jason, why don't you give us a little tour of what we are looking at?
Yeah, so this is my easel. This is where I do my oil paintings, the bigger ones. This is a line that I'm working on.
This guy's looking cool.
Right now. This is the underpainting. Having a lot of fun with that. And yeah, this is where I guess the magic happens. This here is my caddy with my oil paints on it and a bunch of different mediums that I use. This is a little brush holder because I hate washing out the brushes. So the oil paint, I just put the brushes there and then I can use them again the next day because the oil doesn't dry out. This is Stanley here. This is a fun little guy. If I ever would have thought, I used to work at a car dealership when I was a teenager doing washing cars and running errands, and of course all of the mechanics had these fancy Stanley tool cabinets. I never thought I'd have one for myself because, as we revealed earlier, I didn't even have a drill until 2 weeks ago. But I put paints and brushes in here, and that's what I use it for, and I love it. And I almost got gray, which would have been the most boring color in the world. Ended up getting yellow, and I love it. This here is my paint apron.
This is so heavy, by the way.
It is pretty
if it falls, I'm like, man, how do you wear this thing?
It's a pretty heavy duty, but I've got some patches on there and some fun buttons. A little Bob Ross, and I think I've got I roar for Gryffindor. I thought I had one. Oh yeah, there's the I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. Mischief managed. So yeah, that's a little fun stuff. And I've got some cool things to share with this actually. So one of the other auction items that we have is when I finish a painting like this, I have to take it to get professionally photographed for prints and things like that. And one of the things that they give me are these little proofs. And they have an example of what the overall color is going to look like and then a detail at full size so I can approve them. And I usually don't have really anything to do with them, but I thought it'd be kind of a neat keepsake. I took one of them and framed it up real nice, signed it, Make a Joyful Noise. I like this one because it's so colorful. And this is actually an auction item. So this is, there's only one of these that exists, and it's kind of a fun little unique collectible, I guess. So that's cool. That's an option. And then this is something that Kim will tell you, I never do. I never, ever do commissions. And because I wanted to make this special, I decided to do two. And so I've got two different ones. The first one is, these are the little panels that I use for the Pop Culture People series. And I'm going to do, someone is interested, a family picture or a group of friends or a series of you as a Fisher-Price Little People. And so we'll work together to decide if it should be on these panels or if you want me to do a watercolor painting. We can talk out if you win, whichever one you think would work best. And then this one is next level. So this is a blank canvas.
Can you hold it up so I can see what's the size on this bad boy?
This is a 20 by 20 inches.
Okay.
It's the size I like to work in a lot. And basically, you get to call the shots on this one. If you have an idea for a painting, or a feeling or a message you want to convey, we'll talk about it. You let me know, and then I'll work on something in my style to capture that. And yeah, I have not ever done an oil painting that is a commission like this. So this is
Will you do it
pretty
again?
Rare. Maybe not. I don't know. Ask me in about a month or so. Right. But whoever picks it out, I'll be happy to work on this for them. But I just have so many of my own ideas. That's why I don't usually do them. It's just like I have so many of my own ideas I want to get to that it's hard to spend time on other things.
But how many requests for commissions do you get each week?
I've had many requests, and I have a mentor who scolds me for not taking commissions. He says, "Oh, I guess you don't like to make money," and so it's a thing a lot of people don't understand. But this is my place, and it's kind of a thing that I like to protect that. So, Jenna, are there any? I don't know if there's any questions or anything that popped up, but
First of all, we have a lot of love for the lion. People are
And this is just the
enamored with this guy.
underpainting, guys. This is literally not. Is there even oil paint on here?
no,
There is no oil paint on here yet.
They also loved your socks.
Oh.
It's equal love between
Okay,
the lion and the
good.
socks.
Oh, wow.
Well, I put a lot more work into the lion, but whichever's fine. Very cool.
We do have a question. Folks want to know, why haven't you partaken of your Jones soda collection there? Is that an emergency stash?
This is that's a good question. So these are souvenir bottles from the Escape Adulthood Summit, 2016. We got these custom labels made up and had some cool stuff put around here. So I have a couple left over as souvenirs.
Yeah.
So that's what
That was a
that
fun
is.
little surprise. We like to fill our summits with little magical moments like that, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else, Jenna?
Julie would like to know how many people in the commission. I believe she's speaking of the little people.
Oh, I think it says in the auction. I think it's like 5 or 6,
Up to
something like
6.
that. Up to
Okay,
6.
details in the auction
Yep,
listing.
yep.
Got it.
So,
Got it.
up to
Good
6.
question.
Mhm. Yeah.
Alright.
Anything else, Jenna?
Cool.
All right, so now you've seen it. I'll give you a little peek. This is where I work over here in that corner, little whimsical corner
Hit
there.
the chains.
Yeah. And this is where we will be spending lots of time this winter on these little chairs, enjoying some cozy fires. I have a feeling that's coming very soon. Hey guys, good to see you again. So that is the studio tour, you guys. Thank you for your patience here to get to the end.
Okay, well, we're now down to our last giveaway, but before we do that, we're going to announce who wins the
The Frankenstein.
Headbanger,
Right?
and the
Who was
winner
it?
of that was Dana Moore.
Ooh,
Congratulations, Dana. You are the winner. She said Bee Gees was her band that she is embarrassed to
Everybody
admit,
loves
but
that song, by the
nothing
way.
wrong with the Bee Gees.
Right.
Nothing wrong with the Bee Gees. So the last giveaway we have tonight is this beautiful embellished canvas print. And I gotta say, the colors of that look exactly like the original.
I know.
And I wanted to make it a little bit extra special. I added in the gold glitter paint around the fireflies, added a little
Pops.
extra white.
Yep.
So you can actually feel the texture of the paints to make it a little bit more personal. So in order to win that, all you have to do is write in the comment, what was your biggest takeaway from tonight's show? I'm going to say that one thing that we will not accept as an answer is that technology sucks. But anything
Adultitis
else,
is real.
any other takeaways? So let those come in.
Yeah.
We will pick a winner at the end of the show and notify you, and we'll probably announce it next week too on our regular live show.
So if you enjoyed this tonight, obviously this is a fancified, new experience for gallery night, but we are here every Wednesday night at 7:45. We go live Central Time. And it's just a fun time. Not only do we draw, but Jason shares artwork, stories, just like we've done here tonight. But we also celebrate our adultitis fighters, you guys, and all the good that you're putting out in the world, which is an honor for us to do each week. So I hope you'll make this a regular part of your week, maybe a little midweek break, a little hump day break. So
yeah,
it's an honor for us to put this show out into the world for you guys.
Looking at some things coming in here. Connor says to be better mindful of the positivity in life around us.
Nice.
That's pretty sweet.
A good takeaway.
Jen says, enjoyed hearing the why behind the painting. Inspiration. Cool. Glad to hear that. Connie, my biggest takeaway from tonight is to focus on my Corona blessings. Love this.
That's awesome. I think we all have a list of them.
Rachel says, Josie says, I got to stay up late.
Aww,
and that's a good mom you have there.
Right? We're glad you joined us, Josie.
Amy, good to see you, Amy. If you look the wrong way, you may miss it. You miss it, yeah.
Love it.
Paulette says, look for the helpers. Great.
And you are one of them, Paulette.
Christy says, Kim makes an awesome chipmunk.
I just wish I could have heard it. I gotta go back and watch it. That's epic, you guys.
Margarita says, wonder is everywhere, and I have chosen my friends wisely.
Aww. Ditto.
John, my biggest takeaway, simple joy.
Awesome.
Like that. Michelle, Good Friday messages. Emma says the children are now staff. Yeah, they are.
You knew that all along, Mary. You knew it.
Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you guys. This. I love it. It's
Sue
so
says, look for the light in the dawn, in the lightning bugs. Yep. That's the key. So thank you. I will look forward to reading all of these as we go on. Just a reminder, the auction that is currently online will be up for a week. Yes. So you've got a week, but then that's it.
It's next Wednesday night at midnight Central Time. So we will, give you one last reminder on the show next week, but midnight next week, it's over.
Yeah, and I also wanted to remind you, one of the things that we offer at Wondernite, and we also wanted to do again for this auction, is we have a 0% financing option, because I know, it's not like you just randomly just say, I'm going to buy an original painting, and I just can do that. And so if it's something that you're like, man, I really, really would love to have something like that. If you spend $500 or more, and it could be combined purchase, whatever, we have a thing where we will offer 0% financing. All you have to do is put 20% down, and then we spread the rest over 6 months. So when you win the auction, there's instructions of how that works, and we've had people take us up on that in the past, and it's totally cool for us. I'm happy to make things like that affordable, because like I said, we've got higher price points, we got all kinds of price points. So I hope you can join the auction and have fun with all that. But I really want to thank you for being here. I just wanted to share one last bit of encouragement tonight before we get out of here. I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'm sure, a million times. We've had a rough year, you guys, and who would have thought when we started in January, I'm sure we all had all of the optimism in the world for what was ahead of us, and none of us expected this. And I think one of the things that causes some of the anxiety that we felt is the feeling of lack of control, right? That there's so many things that are just happening out of our control, like toilet paper is gone, and this virus, you can't see it, and you don't know where it's at, and we don't know when certain things will open up or if they'll get worse, and it's all of it. But I think what I just want you to remember more than anything is that we have a lot more control than we realize. What we have control over is probably the stuff that matters most. We have control of our attitude. We have control over our perspective, how we choose to look at things. We have control over whether we want to have a spirit of gratitude and faith and hope. And we have control over whether or not we ask the question, how can I help? And if we focus on those things we can't control, oh my gosh, there's no telling what can be accomplished. And that's really what I want you to think about. Instead of looking ahead at what's next or the future and uncertainty and things like that, what I want you to do is I want you to look back. Look back at how far you've come. We're in November. If you would have thought we would still be dealing with this at the end of March, I'll speak for myself, I would have had a heart attack. I'd be like, oh my gosh, there's no way I can do this. There's no way. How are we going to survive? What's going to happen? I would have been overwhelmed. But look at it. Look at what you've accomplished. Look at how far you've come and all of the things you've done, and the fact that you're still here. You're more resilient than you thought you were. You're braver than you thought you were. You're stronger than you thought you were. Don't ever forget that. Have there been low moments? Yeah, none of us have ever done a pandemic before. We all suck at it. But we've adapted, we've been brave, we've helped, we've tried to be the light. And I'm so proud of all of you that I know that are on right now that I know of, and I'm sure the ones I don't, of all the things that you've accomplished this year, all of the things you've overcome, and the persistence that you're still here. And I just want to remind you that, there's a lot of power in how we choose to see things, in our perspective. And that the people who see the silver linings are the ones who are looking for them. So keep looking for the silver linings, keep looking for the hope, keep looking for the light. You got this. You got this. So I just want to thank you guys again. I want to bring in our little troopers here.
They were so patient in the foyer for how long did you guys have to hang out
Kept
up there?
you guys up a little bit past your bedtime. Get in here, Ben. Scooch in a little bit closer right here. All right. So this has been a good night. Thank you for the patience at the beginning with the technical issues. Thank you to Jenna for being on call, helping us.
Adultitis did not win, you guys.
That would have been very
Adultitis
awkward had Jenna not been here to tell us the sound wasn't working. It would have been a very awkward segment. But kudos to these guys. Kudos to you guys for being here, for supporting us. We got a little goodbye for these guys, right?
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for our first gallery night.
Yes, first.
Maybe first of many.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah, but that's it for this show. So until next time, Adultitis Fighters.
From our family to yours, shine on, spread whimsy, and be awesome.